Welcome to Charts Today. My name is David Linton, and today's edition for Monday, the 21st of June, comes to you from London. And we start by looking at the dollar index. We see quite a lot of red on the screen this morning, so quite a lot of mixed movement going on in the market. The dollar holding last week's strength. You can see here the days. This is the daily chart. This is the weekly chart. So we see that big weekly candle, the daily chart with those a succession of 5 candles, and then of course the 60-minute chart. Bullish on the 60-minute time frame. The daily chart starting to look more bullish. This is starting to look like a higher low versus the January level, and of course if we break this level that we saw in April, that becomes the higher high. That would be the beginning of a reversal for the dollar. Looking at the euro, we're sitting at 118.88, so below that 120 level again, just finding cloud support on the lagging line at the moment, but any lower and we break through that cloud, so that would turn us bearish. The weekly chart is the long term, the daily chart is the medium term, and the short term chart is that 60-minute chart with the corresponding point and figure targets. We're sitting at just a smidgen below 110 on the Japanese yen dollar, and sitting at 138.38 this morning. Sterling just sitting on the cloud as well. So the long-term trend is still up for sterling. We've still got these long-term targets in place, but short-term we are bearish below the cloud on that stronger dollar. Sterling still looks strong against the euro, holding all three time frames here as bullish. And if we look at Bitcoin, falling away quite heavily over the last week, back to that $33,000 level, remembering that if we fall below 30,000, we deactivate the big upside target to $107,000. So a lot of volatility playing out in crypto at the moment. The S&P 500 index was down 1.3% on Friday, so quite a fall away there. And the Nasdaq also just falling lower, holding on to its short-term trend, whereas the S&P 500 index is actually now bearish below the cloud. Looking at the futures this morning, we are up about 0.25% on the S&P and 0.33% on the Nasdaq. Does suggest we will open higher. The VIX volatility did kick up on Friday, and we're sitting at 20 points there. So the fear index has climbed, but it is still relatively low versus where we've been over the last year. The FTSE future is down very slightly this morning. The DAX in Germany is up slightly. The CAC 40 is down 0.25%. So quite a mixed picture in Europe this morning. Big moves yesterday in Tokyo, the Japanese market down 2.5%, so quite a strong move there, lower. The Hang Seng was down 1% as well. Shanghai was up 0.1%, but that's of course a small amount versus the Hong Kong and Tokyo markets. India was also down very slightly. The Aussie market down quite dramatically, down 1.8%. So we're seeing here just finding cloud support on that short-term chart, holding on to its new high, but the key thing is we are seeing a fall away. We'll look at the energy mix in a minute. Looking at soft commodities, we're lower here as well, 1.3% there. Corn down 1.6%. We're seeing gold making a little bit of a resurgence, having had a bad week last week, finding cloud support on the daily at the moment, so that's quite key for gold. And silver sitting just below that 26 level. In fact, we just ticked on 26 as I speak, so looking bearish still on that short-term chart. Taking a look at copper, we're holding the gains that we've seen on the long-term chart, but we saw a lot of moves down last week, and that big candle is showing there. We saw big moves in platinum, palladium, other metals as well. US 10-year yields falling back. We're sitting at 1.4%, so we have seen quite a big fallback. We did fall back to 1.35% on Friday, so that's quite significant early this morning, but we are seeing recovery there, and we're seeing also that 30-year yields also just recovering off the bottom there. But it's interesting that bond markets are falling away quite significantly. Looking at the energy mix now, Brent crude's just nudging $72 this morning, so looking like it will return to bullish territory. WTI, much the same picture, pushing higher. We've got good upside targets. US nat gas looking weaker and bearish below the cloud. Coal holding on to its strength at $82.50. Emissions, all eyes on the key level here. 54 euros is the key level on European emissions this week, and that's the level to watch. And of course, we need to make sure we hold the low at 49. So there's a €5 range there to watch out for. Nat gas is US gas. US gas is lower, but we're seeing European gas stronger. NBP up nearly 3%. TTF up 2.2%. Breaking to new highs. The chart's still looking very bullish there. Looking at German power, we're up nearly 1% this morning. Again, core was bullish here today. We're seeing quite strong rises on Nordic power this morning, especially on the quarterly, up 4%. Got good upside targets, but we are still bearish below the cloud. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.